A number of different objects are important. The first thing you mentioned was baskets. Why are they so important?
Well, baskets were everything to us. It doesn't matter if we were our pack baskets, they carried our children, they carried our goods, they boiled our water. Birch bark baskets boiled our water. That's how we boiled water before we had metal. So baskets are one of the most important things culturally to us, but also after contact, it was one of the biggest commodities. And I'm proud to say here on the east coast of Canada and the United States, Peskotomuhkati and the Passamaquoddy are some of the best basket makers in the world. So they're highly touted. And the amount is, like I like to boast, the amount of work they put into it really showed. So yeah, baskets, and I come from a long line of basket makers. Like I said, my great-grandmother was a well-known basket maker. She's a Sauk Basin from down that area, well-known, and it goes back way further than that. So they're really ingrained with the people.
Now, often not fair, but many times, for example, with Jackson Pollock and his wife, he became more famous than she, but she was a very good artist. What was the division of labor among adult men and women and the children when it came to making some of these things that were both functional and a piece of art?
Well, what was neat is it's a different type of teaching. That's what I found right away too. When I went to school at MBCCD, they taught you how to do it the right way, or what they thought was the right way at the start. Indigenous teachings is you learn by making mistakes. So the way the children did, the way I saw it when I grew up is, what they were doing is the elders are making the baskets and the young are sitting around, and they're not being taught, they're actually watching and listening. And what they're doing is, and what I remember is picking up scraps, kids picking up scraps and then starting to do it their way. And all of a sudden they do it the wrong way, and then a grandmother or an elder would say, no, wrong way, you gotta do it over. But what I like about that way of teaching is when you make a mistake, you usually only do it once. So it's a different way of learning from mistakes and learning how to do it the right way at the start. So that's what I found in basket making, is just a whole different way of teaching. It wasn't actually just sheerly, like these days it's more taught, but in the old days, you watched and you learned that way. And when you made a mistake, they said, nope, do it over. So you ended up doing it over so many times, guess what? You ended up being pretty good.
Funny, that's also a modern teaching technique. For years it was, for example, teaching tennis. It was the physics and the biomechanics and the angle of incidence equals the angle of refraction. But the current thing is give the kids a tennis racket and a ball and leave them alone for a bit and let them try it out.
Let them learn it, because it's about mistakes. Like I said, we learn best. I don't care if it's you or me. We make a mistake, we tend to learn from it immediately. So it's a great way to learn, the best way to learn.
It would be a cliche and perhaps wrong, but the impression is that baskets were often done by women.
Yes.
And the men would find the ash.
Yes.
And pound it.
Yes.
What other divisions of labor do you know about?
I'll tell you what, that's why we're matriarchal. That's why my grandmother was the one that run our family. They were the ones that run the community. The men were out hunting, they had to fight, do the stuff they had to do. But the women did everything. They took care of everything. They run everything, they took care of everything. But they were the ones that were left back, that were making the baskets so the men could go get the stuff. And what I'm really proud of is, I always say this, only the white man thought that he could improve on what the Indigenous man or the Native man had here. The women were doing lions part of the share of work. They worked. You gotta imagine, they had the kids, they had the households, they had everything. So they worked so hard, they were the ones that kept everything together. But in this part, they were the ones that were back making the basket, making everything they need. So they were the ones. They worked together and separate. But like I said, only the white man thought he could improve on that. Back then, the men had it pretty good. They were hunting, fishing, fighting a bit, fighting for their territory, fighting for what's theirs. But really, it was so symbiotic here, there wasn't even a lot of that. There still was, of course, because we had always tribes coming in. I wondered that, especially about this river. But it's such a, of course somebody would want your a beautiful and bountiful place. But so there was that too. But yeah, it's there was a division, but it was so, I don't even know the word. It was so congealed. It was so in tune with Mother Earth. It's just everything runs so smoothly. But yes, the women are the backbone. And once we get back to being true matriarchal, I think you're going to see things really start to change. As you can see, especially in Peskotomuhkati territory, Passamaquoddy territory, we have a woman chief right now, so actually things are changing right now. Once we get back to, and remember chief things too is also an INAC thing. It's something for the government. Whereas before there would have been chief, but it's more council, and it was, back in the old days, it was more elders, grandmothers. And now we're starting to get back to that now. Speaking to the grandmothers. Of course there's chief and council, yes, there's that too. But you really want to go talk to somebody, you go talk to the grandmothers. And if they give you the okay, then that's me, I get the okay. Trust me, I've had grandmothers come up and talk to me. And when they tell me things, they say, we don't think you should do this, and I listen. So, and I listen to all of them, but I really, when I go for my knowledge, it's always been to the Indigenous women.
Can you share any of the advice you've been given by grandmothers?
Not a lot of it, because they are very, they just, for the start, the one thing off the bat is, and when I got into this, the school wanted me to teach it to everybody, this type of carving, this traditional type of work. But I had some grandmothers come to me and say, listen, our people need this retaught first. So at some time, yes, but for right now, if we can concentrate on our people, let's do that. And that's all it took. And I haven't looked back. So now I'm concentrating on our people. Anything I can do to teach them, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's somebody wanting to come to my house for free and learn, it's gonna happen. So when they bestowed that on me, I took that to heart, and that's one of the things. But yes, they told me many other things, but they're the ones really keeping it in check. Because of course, I want the world to know all about everything, but there's some stuff that we have to keep close to because it is ours.
Now that raises a great question, because we're all people, and grandmothers would have similar advice for many, many young people, how to do things right, so on. And there are two schools of thought, that you do keep family secrets secret, or advice, or what have you, or a legitimate line of thought is you share it.
Yes.
You make it known.
Yes.
And Bruce Lee got into a lot of trouble by sharing the martial arts.
Yep.
A Mason would get into trouble by
Yep.
sharing some of the Masonic secrets. How do you know where to draw that line?
That is what's coming up as of late. Trust me, this isn't all the grandmothers coming to me. I had a few come to me this, but I also had others that are saying what you're saying is, you know what? We do have to be teaching this. We do have to be showing this to the world. So it is a fine line. I think more in communication. So more me talking about it and doing it. And when I get into situations and me knowing more, just communicate with the people and let them know what this is coming from and what it's meant to be. So it doesn't matter if you're black, white, yellow. It really doesn't. There will be a time. But right now, we're really trying to rebound here. And I got what they were saying is we need this. Because right now this will bring a lot of happiness to people to teach them these style stuff. But for my own people to get that reconnectivity back, it is worth its weight in, I don't even know, diamonds right now.
Now, I think everybody knows the story of Indigenous people sharing with settlers the
Yes.
power of the willow tree and turning that into aspirin, which is still
That's
a
right.
very successful product.
Yeah.
The patent has been off it for more than 100 years. Shame you don't have the patent.
Mm-hmm.
There is a huge reluctance of talking about either medicinal plants and remedies, and perhaps even more so sacred plants.
Yes, medicines.
What's your view of that?
My view on that is what's shown in the past. Some of the medicines that have come out now, they're being exploited to a tremendous amount. Like as soon as a couple things like the thing off Birch Bark there, Anyway, a few things, and they're being exploited so much that we can't even go out and find them ourselves. So some of the things the grandmothers are saying, like, listen, our medicines and stuff, we do have to keep close because that's our medicines. There'll be a time when the world's going to need them all because, well, the way it's looking, we might not be able to get our aspirin supply here in the future. So you know what? It's all going to come back around, and there's going to be a time. But for right now, our resources are so limited. Like for us even to go get our birch bark, our ash, to make our art, with the ash borer beetle being here, things are changing. So that's one thing they did talk about is really we have to watch our resources right now. And if we do open up too much, I hate to say it, but look at the rest of the world, what's going on with resources, they're just being plundered. And I know there's people out there that, and we know there's people out there that have wonderful hearts that don't want to do that, but there's the ones that don't, that want to exploit, that we really have to watch about. And with these medicines, they're so sacred right now, and they were trying to be wiped out so hard that the ones that we kept and the ones we're getting back is, yeah, we're keeping them pretty close right now. Like I said, and basically we're just, as young people, remember, my dad went through a time where it was better to be white, so he tried to be white. Now we're learning to be who we are. And who we are is Peskotomuhkati, St.Croix, Wabanagi. We are Indigenous people, and that's who we are. Like, and we're learning that more and more. So it's getting back to who we are.